Hey there, and welcome back to Baldur's Gate 3. My name is Pete, and today we complete another episode of this honor mode walkthrough with our Dark Urge Halfling Bard, Sylvia Hairyfoot. Last time we left off after employing a unique strategy to defeat a spectator and deciding the fate of Ebon Lake Grotto, and today, with Shadowheart in the party replacing Lae'zel, we're going to explore another unique place down here in the Underdark. To get there, we want to fast travel back to the beach where we fought the Durga a while ago. A net right next to the fast travel sigil gets us up to a broken down house, inside of which we can find a spattered diary belonging to Wulbren, and it also mentions Wulbren's friend Barkus. You may remember him as the gnome tied to the windmill in the Goblin village. Now, the rest of the items in this place are just clutter, but among our 4 party members we have enough carrying capacity to grab everything, and we will encounter a rather curious trader later this episode, who sells an interesting item that we can exchange all of this junk for. Now, as you can see, heading into a southwestern direction, we follow a short path along the water. This is just a very small closed-off area with not a whole lot going on, but a successful perception check reveals a gold necklace on the wooden overhang, and there also seems to be some hidden treasure. Inside the chest then, 2 ice arrows and a potion of featherfall, the latter actually very conveniently placed for a section that's coming up, although we will hopefully not need it. We can also follow the planks here to get to a wooden crate. Some boots, alcohol and food items can be acquired here. Overall though, nothing of great value. Eventually then, we return the way we came, but let's not forget about that gold necklace, easily acquired if we just jump onto the wooden platform here and grab it from above. Heading back east then, we come across a wall with lots of holes in it. Let's inspect them a little closer.
The wall is riddled with holes. A suffocating stench of long rotten meat wafts out.
Now, because Sylvia here is a short halfling, she will have no trouble reaching into the holes, but we want to pass the survival check first. The bliss spores are still active and Shadowheart can give us guidance, but the DC of 15 is still moderately difficult.
You recognize the odor. The foul scent of carrion crawlers, centipede-like aberrations that feast on the dead. At one time, these caverns must have been their banquet hall. The creatures are either long gone or waiting patiently in the darkness.
Now at this point, we can still reach into the hole, but not only do we now benefit from guidance, but passing the survival check earlier also makes this easier.
The passage narrows and bends. You're shoulder deep when your fingers brush against a fleshy tentacle. You flinch, but the tentacle is limp and cold. You push it aside and retrieve something loose, lying beneath.
So, there we are. This is arguably the most reliable way to unlock the nest egg inspiration for Karlach. Passing that first survival check actually gave us advantage on that second passive wisdom check. Admittedly, the reward is nothing much, only a topaz gemstone. At this point then, we continue into a cave full of torch stalks, and just to be on the safe side, we want to clear them all out before venturing in further. Don't worry though, no loot or other collectibles will get destroyed that way.
Something's burrowed in there. Something big.
This, of course, another reference to the bullet, which we have now actually killed twice.
A perfect ring of mushrooms. Nature magic. Pretty, but it doesn't do much.
Now, there is no interacting with this ring of mushrooms just yet, but we will find a way very shortly.
Half this drow's body is crushed. Must have fallen from pretty high up.
Right, the body of a dead drow, seemingly fallen from some elevation, also carrying a journal revealing the drow to be a servant of the Archmage and detailing a disagreement over one of the drow's summons. Let's pocket journal, armor and crossbow and then speak to the drow. Maybe this reveals a bit more about how he died.
The corpse regards you lifelessly.
And as always, we'll start with proper introductions.
House Vandry far, Scout. Searching.
Well, searching, but searching for what?
Quick path to surface.
Well, seems like he didn't find one, which brings us to the next question. How did he die?
Through backpack. Too light. Fell.
And clearly we need a bit more explanation as to how throwing a backpack can lead to death.
Mushrooms. Disappear. Guessed wrong.
Right, so illusory mushrooms it seems, something to look out for, as well as perhaps other drow in the area, provided this one had company.
Worked alone. Better that way.
The spell's power wanes. You can ask no more questions.
So, we have been warned about mushrooms that might disappear on us. Before we investigate further, let's quickly loot the area. The mushrooms in question are then soon identified. And just like that, the mushroom above our heads just vanished, and you can see that there are a few more on the wall in front of us. Let's switch to Karlach now, who can jump a little bit higher than Sylvia, and hopefully find a way up without falling to our death.
Gotcha.
Karlach swiftly spots another mushroom that is not quite what it seems. From this point onwards, Sylvia can also not follow her up further. As you can see, we also fail one investigation check, but if this mushroom here were to disappear on us, we wouldn't fall far, and thankfully it is perfectly sturdy, and with that we've made our way up. Up here we can collect 3 sylvan stones. Karlach also fails another investigation check, but we can redo that in just a second. For now, let's have her check out the mushroom circle here. And there we go. This mushroom circle activates the one we passed by earlier. The 2 of them are now connected and essentially work as teleportation pads. So let's return our entire party safely back upstairs without the need for further mushroom jumping. Sylvia then also passes the investigation check that Karlach failed a moment ago, revealing the wall up here to be yet another illusion.
Another illusion? Is anything real down here?
Behind this wall hides another pair of sylvan stones as well as a 3rd mushroom circle. Let's find out where this one leads us. And well, would you look at that, we find ourselves back in the overgrown tunnel. This is an area we have visited before. The door here might look familiar, as well as the area behind it. This is in fact the lair of Auntie Ethel, where we fought her in an effort to free Mayrina. So, this is another path to get into and out of the Underdark. Our business meanwhile takes us back down into the Torchstalk Cave. In the northwestern section of the area we can harvest another toadstool mushroom, and then we want to clear out 2 more torch stalks that actually block our path onwards. By the way, in the last episode we actually had Astarion stand on top of the cracked rock here looking down into the cave. Today we explore a little secret area. A bit more mushroom jumping is required to traverse it, but at the end of it we are rewarded with a skeleton carrying the unique Helmet of Autonomy, a piece of light armor headgear that provides proficiency in wisdom saves. Let's collect it and then take note of another section of cracked rock that is actually very easy to overlook, but one shouldn't, as it leads into an entirely new area. And you may have noticed it already, inside of this Festering Cove here we are not alone. We can catch several curious creatures doing a wild chant. Despite no efforts to move stealthily, they have not really noticed us yet, and the game reveals these to be Kuo-Toa, rather primitive-looking fish-like creatures, but looking at their stats, we shouldn't underestimate them, so let us perhaps take some precautions here. Well, actually, it's just one precaution, putting Karlach in stealth behind the pillar here, before we then approach the Kuo-Toa.
Creature is lost in devotion. You might as well not exist.
So, this one does not have anything to say, but there is one in the group who looks a bit special. Let's speak with Pooldripp the Zealous.
Our blood to fill your oceans, O blessed BOOAL. Our bones to build your temple in the deep.
A wave of pure devotion washes over you, And with every surge, you feel a presence grow in response.
Bird priest promises. Your god wants proof. Wants blood.
These beings are Kuo-Toa, former Mind Flayer slaves that manifest their gods through sheer belief.
You, our Lord of Murder, demands sacrifice. You will be an offering for the great God BOOAL.
Right, now we're aiming for a very particular outcome to this encounter, and in order to get it, we want to use the Bard exclusive performance check here in an effort to expose their God BOOAL as a fake. The DC of 10 here is easily passed, and at the very least, this should spare us from becoming sacrifices ourselves.
Not real.
You sense a flicker of doubt, brief but enough. For an instant, the godly presence falters.
At this point then, we can further persuade the Kuo-Toa that they are believing in an imposter, and that we are in fact the true god of murder instead. This time the DC is 15, but as a bard and especially with the bliss spores, that is still nothing too challenging.
No! Shut it!
Shut your rotten mouth!
You feel the presence waver. One moment a god of awesome power, the next a common redcap.
Bollocks! Don't do anything hasty now. The fish folk got plenty of power. We can share. Blessed BOOAL. What? Shut it, you! I'm talking to my chosen. Chosen got power. You want power, don't you?
Now, as intriguing as the redcap's offer here may be, we will not inquire further and decline. What's more, one final performance check here will actually allow us to turn the Kuo-Toa against it. This time we're facing a difficult DC of 20, but we could also re-roll up to 4 times should that be necessary.
No! 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 I'm the Lord of Murder! Me!
Alright, combat has begun, and it is arguably the most lopsided fight we've seen in the series so far. As you can see, the redcap got absolutely shafted by the initiative order, so our entire party as well as 9 Kuo-Toa will go first. That should be enough to seal the deal, but let's take a look at who we're dealing with nonetheless. Stats-wise, BOOAL is a bit more powerful than your standard redcap, and crucially also has self-healing abilities whenever it kills something. Apart from that, it can strike 3 times per turn due to its multi-attack feature. All of that, however, we will hopefully be able to prevent, and we go first with Astarion here. His short sword deals extra damage against targets still at full health, his Dread Ambusher ability avoids the use of an action for it, and we begin combat with a lovely 18 points of damage. Now, for the moment, we are not going to keep attacking with him just yet. Instead, we'll switch to Sylvia, who can now follow things up with a slashing flourish. That lands a critical hit for big damage, and we're not done yet. With the offhand shot here, we can land a second critical hit, and with that, BOOAL is already down to only 27 hit points. Let's switch to Karlach now, who I've kept out of the fight up until this point in case the initiative order had played out differently. In this case, of course, it wasn't necessary. As a matter of fact, we could probably end our entire turn at this point. Our 9 Kuo-Toa allies should have little trouble taking care of the rest. But of course, we are not going to give them the chance. Let's land the killing blow ourselves. So, nice and easy, BOOAL the redcap is dead. We earn the same amount of XP as if we had killed all of the Kuo-Toa too. Shadowheart earns an inspiration, and we now unlock an interesting conversation.
You've slain the pretender. We knew in our hearts the God BOOAL was false. But you, we see you. We know you by your true name, Mahkloompah.
Praise Mahkloompah!
What is to be your first commandment, O great God?
Now, as you can see, we have a few options to choose from here, but before we select any of them, we want to make sure to trade with Pooldripp, as this is a one-time opportunity to obtain the unique Sickle of BOOAL, the only sickle in the entire game that deals 2d4 damage instead of only 1d4. We can take it in exchange for all of our trash, and then, and this is another very important decision, we want to tell Pooldripp to build us an army.
We will spread word of Mahkloompah. Your glory will sing from 10,000 throats.
So, there we go. It will admittedly take quite some time until the effects of this decision will reveal themselves. Eventually, though, it will be worth it. Shadowheart also earned the inspiration for earning the worship of the Kuo-Toa, and this worship now allows us to loot their cave freely. With the sickle already in our possession, the body of BOOAL itself does not have anything crazy good on it, not to mention that if you follow this path, the sickle will only be available from Pooldripp, and if you don't acquire it during the conversation immediately following the fight, then it will sadly be lost forever. Now, as you can see, we are also looting all of the shells here. Those fetch a decent price for clutter items. Eventually, though, we head out to harvest 2 Bullywug trumpet mushrooms, and there's also a barrel nearby with a decent amount of gold in it. Up the netting and past 2 Kuo-Toa archers, we find a gilded chest that we can also access freely. Inside, more valuables, including 5 vials of dye. Just to the side of it here, we can pick 2 more mushrooms. The Kuo-Toa themselves, by the way, have nothing to say to us at this point. They're just too busy worshipping our greatness. Along the path over here, then, we can find some hidden treasure. Considering the rather primitive nature of its inhabitants, the cave here actually has a decent number of chests and containers. Unsurprisingly, though, the contents are mostly maritime in nature. Now, to access the next bit of treasure, we first of all need to clear ourselves a path by blowing up more torch stalks, and then we need to act swiftly as we want to jump across to the other side here without blowing up the mushrooms first. Entering turn-based mode immediately upon landing avoids a dangerous explosion, an explosion that would have otherwise surely destroyed the healing potion over here. This way, though, we can safely grab it and add it to our possessions. Then, still in turn-based mode, we use Sylvia's bonus action to jump back across, and at this point we can now safely blow up the mushrooms without the risk of any loot getting lost. Unfortunately, the torch stalk near the chest here can only be destroyed if we jump back across to the platform. However, its destruction does not damage the chest in any way, shape or form. Now, as Sylvia noticed earlier, that chest is also trapped, and normally we'd use a Astarion for this. However, Sylvia is still benefiting from the Bliss Spores, giving her a 1d6 bonus to any ability check made, and both the checks for disarming and picking the lock only have a DC of 10, meaning Miss Hairyfoot should be perfectly capable of taking care of things herself. From the chest, then, we can obtain the Slippery Chain Shirt, a medium suit of armor perfectly suited for characters that heal others, as doing so with this armor equipped will automatically have the target disengage, so that whoever gets healed won't trigger opportunity attacks. After looting some rope from another chest, then, we make our way down towards the water, where Sylvia spots a curious message in a bottle. And this message was sent by none other than Donnie, the young tiefling boy from the Emerald Grove. You may remember him, the one who didn't speak and only grunted. In this heartbreaking message here, he writes to his father, who, according to Zevlor, got lost during the tiefling's journey, so whether or not he's actually still alive is very much in question.
That's curious.
Now, our tour through the Festering Cove is almost complete. We just detected another hidden treasure chest. Just like the first one, though, this one is not really filled to the brim with valuables, at least not from the perspective of the humanoids in our party. Finally, then, we come across a small island, a beam of light shining upon it, and on this island we find a scroll titled The Ecstasy of Murder, describing the sensation that Baal, the actual god of murder, bestows upon his followers whenever they kill in their god's name. This sensation is described as mindless, instinctual, and coming from within the bowels, an erotic spasm that washes over the killer. And as we pick up the gold coins on this small island here, we might want to take note of the fact that Sylvia's dark urges share some similarities with that description. so maybe we keep the contents of that scroll in mind for later. Now, our last bit of treasure then is a well-hidden chest inside the water here, and with that we are done, not only with this area, but actually also with today's episode. Yes, it was perhaps quite a bit shorter than usual, but we're actually coming up onto the end of our journey here in the Underdark. Next time then we will finally investigate the mysterious arcane tower. Hopefully we'll find the ingredients that Umalium the Mind Flayer was asking for, and who knows, that might just help us learn a bit more about the parasite in our brain. All that and more will happen in the next episode. Until then, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, then I would be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then you can of course also go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date, grab some merch over on shop.petecomplete.com, or become a channel member or Patreon supporter. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.